paar weken geleden stroomde mijn Facebook vol met foto's van sail. Wat had ik daar graag bij willen zijn? Ik heb wel iedereen gevraagd van, iedereen die er is, maak alsjeblieft een selfie van jezelf. Dus ik heb wat foto's met mensen die een selfie met een prachtig Tallship op de achterkant. Maar zo'n moment hadden we hier ook een paar jaar geleden. En dat was georganiseerd mede met Tallship Victoria. Daar heb ik nou 2 mensen van uitgenodigd, Robert van der Stad en Peter Harris. I will do the rest in English because you guys, you speak Dutch but you speak English. Yes. Yeah. And since when are you here?
Well, I arrived in Australia in 1955, November 55, so it's nearly 60 years ago. But I did have my primary and secondary education in the Netherlands, so that's how I can still speak Dutch.
Yeah, because
not so fluently, but if I have to, I can.
Yeah, but what sort of boat did you come here? Also, a beautiful Tallship.
Oh, well, it wasn't quite a tall ship, but it was a fairly sizable ship. It was one of the lovely pre-war Dutch ships called the Johan van Oldenbarneveld.
Yeah.
And they probably had something like 1,500 or more than 1,000 emigrants on board, and I was one of them.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I've lived in Australia ever since, and always had a very keen interest in the sea and ships, and in particular sailing ships.
Yeah.
And it's through that interest that my good friend Peter and I met some 30 years ago during the first refit of Australia's last remaining sailing ship called the Alma Doepel.
Okay, yeah.
And Alma Doepel was launched in 1903 in a place called Ballingen in New South Wales, literally 2 weeks before the Wright brothers flew their very first aircraft. So that puts it into a historic perspective.
Yeah.
The ship's been...
sorry to interrupt, but we will talk about the Alma Doepel later.
Okay.
But because I met you at the Tallship's event
on board of the Oosterschelde.
Yeah,
that's right. And that Tallship event was brought about by a small group of enthusiasts, which was formed in 2006, called Tallship Victoria.
Yeah.
And Peter, in fact, was the driving force behind that, and a number of us joined up, about 30 odd members, and we the purpose of that was to encourage the and to facilitate the visits of tall ships to the port of Melbourne.
Yeah, so you called the people in the Netherlands to come here, or how did that work?
No, actually, it was part of the Tallship's invitation from the Australian federal government to join the International Fleet Review, which was 100 years of the Royal Australian Navy fleet first entering Sydney. And so ships were coming in, so the tall ships heard about this in Europe, thought this might be an interesting challenge to sail around the world, and 3 Dutch ships got together, the Europa, Oosterschelde and Tekla.
Yeah.
And they said, well, we would like to come. So in Melbourne, with our Tall Ships group, we said, okay, here's an opportunity for a lead-in event. As the ships come in from the west coast, they can come to Melbourne, and we'll have a get-together and run a festival, which is with what happened.
Okay, so I filmed actually on the event. Shall we maybe have a look to
That's wonderful, yeah.
Yes, it'd be great to have another look at it.
Yeah, okay. We zijn vandaag uitgenodigd om mee te varen op een Nederlands zeilschip. Het was 100 jaar geleden dat meer dan 9 schepen bij elkaar in Melbourne op de baai kwamen. Wij zijn aan boord om met de bemanning te praten over hun ervaringen en over hun taken. Kom en kijk met ons mee. Hoe lang ben je al op het schip?
2 jaar nu bijna.
Oh, oké. En wat is jouw taak?
Ik ben matroos, dus ik hou bezig vooral met het zeilen. Maar ook onderhoud, verven, dat soort dingen.
En waar kom je vandaan in Nederland?
Uit Den Haag.
En hoe lang ben je dan nu al onderweg?
We zijn nu met deze wereldreis 9 maanden onderweg.
Wat is de bedoeling wat je vandaag doet?
Vandaag? Ja, vandaag dag toch? Ja, dus lekker erbij en lekker zeilen. Ja, dat is het eigenlijk.
Ga je nog wat opknappen of wat, ga je nog de mast in vandaag?
De mast in? Nou, misschien moet er nog 1 zeiltje losknopen, maar volgens mij gaat mijn collega dit al doen. Dus het komt helemaal goed.
Ja, oké.
Oosterschelde is een 3-mast topzeil schooner. En het was eigenlijk origineel gebouwd als een vrachtschip. En wat je aan dek ziet is precies zoals het was in de vroege jaren van de vorige eeuw. Dus bij wijze van spreken, als je aan boord stapt, dan stap je bijna 100 jaar terug in tijd.
En daarom is het ook bijzonder dat we hier kunnen zijn natuurlijk.
Ja. Mijn passie of passion is altijd zeilschepen geweest. En Tallship Victoria zijn verantwoordelijk geweest voor een aantal bezoeken van zeilschepen aan Melbourne. Maar de grootste aantal van zeilschepen dat ooit naar Melbourne is gekomen voor meer dan 100 jaar is nu.
Yeah. It's still beautiful.
I'm going to get that together, but I'd like to keep to windward of you.
Okay, I was told to sort of get a move on, but I have just stopped my engine.
Ja.
Het is een soort Vincent, hè?
Ja.
Het kan gewoon niet rustig aan. Het is gewoon alles moet.
Een soort visserman. Kijk hoe smal de hier open is. Mooi, hè? Mooi plaatje, ja. Toch? Kijk, draai om, kijk naar dat. Gewoon heel hard trekken. Oké, ja, mooi zo. Heel goed.
Nice to see it again.
Yeah, wonderful
Definitely.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool
Was
to
a-
make it, to be there for 4 hours. How long we were there? 4 hours?
At least, yes. I think we had to embark quite early, and I do recall the day threatened to become, quite unsettled, and there was a very heavy shower of rain as
Yeah,
passengers embarked, and then we thought, gosh, if it's going to be like this today, it won't be very
No,
pleasant. But
because I was actually filming you inside first because it was pouring with rain.
yeah,
You
but
know, this is I think the first time this manoeuvre, this day, was ever done in Australia.
Yeah.
It was an idea we had because 3 Dutch ships were coming that we would base it on the old tradition of admiral sailing,
Oh,
That's
which
okay.
is something that what in English we call the Rally of the Round and Flat Bottomed Yacht Society, which is in the Netherlands, where the traditional chalks and buoyers and botters get together, and they sail under manoeuvres.
Yeah. So
with
the same, the
flags.
sailing the
Yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
So it's actually not a race, but
No.
it matters where you are and when you are. So we decided to have a point at which all the ships would come past under full sail.
Yeah.
Because one of the unique features of Melbourne is that you can sail, you have enough water to sail a fully sailed square rigger, large ones, without getting in the way of the commercial traffic.
Yeah.
And this is one of the visions we always had for Melbourne. This is the first time we actually did that.
Wow, it was
Correct.
amazing because that's actually, it was a sort of saying hi to one of the boats,
Yeah.
and that was the admiral,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
sailing
yes, they
part.
had to had to salute the young Endeavour, which was the review, the flagship.
Yeah.
As they passed the stern of the young Endeavour, they took the salute and dipped their ensign, the flag at the stern, and received, of course, a cannon shot.
Yeah.
It was
like somebody was saying to me, "There's something happening now." So where?
There's perhaps one manoeuvre I should talk about, which was, and rarely seen with a square rigger. Europa was bowling along beautifully, and all of a sudden she came to a stop, and that's a manoeuvre called heaving to.
Oh.
She hove to stop herself, and she literally stopped in the water, and we wondered what was happening. The next thing, she sails away again, and her bow was being crossed by a large container ship, so she stopped, to let the container ship through.
Okay.
But that was a manoeuvre you don't often see with square riggers.
Cool.
And, so it was a very special day. And
when do we have it again? Because I would love to be on the ship again.
Well, the vision we had in 2006 was that we would start looking at events like Sail Amsterdam,
Yes.
where there are 200 square rig ships, in fact more than 200 I think this year, which is extraordinary, and obviously that isn't going to happen in Australia. But the reason that ships have not come here is that people in the population are not educated about what an exciting and educational thing this really is. So we set up the organisation to promote and facilitate tallship visits, and therefore to get people interested. So at that 8-ship gathering, we had around 30 to 40,000 people came.
Yeah.
And other people looked at it and said, "This is extraordinary. We had no idea that there was this amount of interest." So we're gradually building up. Our first events were 1 or 2 ships.
Yeah.
We now have a group of around 4 ships by next year that will be based permanently in Melbourne.
Okay.
And we can build up from that.
So, but an event like 2 years ago, when will that happen?
Oh, I don't know. It could happen in another 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. You need some event, and then you need people to say, look, there is a celebration, a birthday, or something to act as a driver or a magnet, if you like, for the event.
And next year, 2016, Dirk Hartog year.
Yeah. Well, there is probably most of the activity in Australia will be in Fremantle.
Yeah.
With the Doefken.
Yes.
And possibly Bark Endeavour, but that's not clear. But certainly Lewin is over there. So probably the last time I heard was there may not be very much happening with that over on this side of the continent.
Okay, but we can't initiate that.
It's a long way for the ships to come, and
Yeah.
ships need to earn their living.
Yeah.
And so the answer to that is very simple. Yes, you have to provide them with their income on a daily basis. So every event now starts with a business plan, which then feeds the dream.
Yeah.
You have to have a small dream first,
Yeah.
but that's very closely followed by the business plan,
Yeah.
which says ships need this much money per day, and we can get that from sponsors and from benefactors or from selling tickets.
Yeah.
And once people know this is a good thing to do, then the ships can earn their keep.
Yeah. So how long was it to organize the Tallships event 2 years ago?
About 18 months.
18 months.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then, so 2 years will be, 2-3 years will be
planning stage.
Planning stage, possible.
Yeah, for a ship to come here from Europe will take 6 months.
Yeah.
Because they have to stop along the way, because you have to renew the crew.
Yeah.
And that's how the business plan actually operates. They don't do a non-stop voyage. Nobody's done it for years. That'd be an interesting idea. Perhaps we could reenact the Clipper races.
Yeah.
There's an idea for somebody out there.
That's good. It's good that we talk about it, and maybe people from the community are thinking now because we are so sail-minded. All Dutch people love sailing, and I love to be on one of the ships again. So,
of course.
So it will be a good idea, and I will get people on my Facebook asking for it. Maybe good now to go to some footage from the Alma Doepel, where you actually Doepel. I said because Doepel is so Dutch, the OE, so that's
That's
why I
an
say
ooh, yeah,
Doepel.
that's right.
But it is Alma Doepel?
Doepel,
Alma
yes.
Doepel.
Alma Doepel, okay.
Doepel.
We will
Doepel.
look to some footage from
Yeah.
the Alma Doepel.
Yes.
And that's a project you're busy at
Currently,
the moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This is one of the ships that we will
Yeah.
have based in Melbourne. Yes.
Okay, you actually can talk, we're not just watching, we talk over it, and you can explain to me what you can see. Even kijken, what do we see now? This is part of your website, I think.
Yes, so we have some engineering models there which show you how the ship is structured.
Yeah.
This is our ship now on the barge where she's been there for 2 years. So we
Yeah.
had to build a barge, place the ship on top of the barge, and then this is me just giving an introduction, standing underneath the ship, looking
Yeah.
at the parts that have been removed.
How long is it already out of the water?
Yeah, about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and with appropriate funding, we could have it back in the water in another 2 years. And of
Okay.
course, being a wooden ship, they dry out in the sun, and it gets very hot and windy here, so we have to be careful to get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, because otherwise you get, because I had a wooden boat in the Netherlands, and then it's,
Correct.
I get holes in it
Yes.
between the
The
woods.
planks.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Is that happening here then as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is, and also you see there in the engine room,
Yeah.
we've taken the engines out, all of the tanks and wiring has to be replaced. This ship is now 112 years old,
Yeah.
and like the Oosterschelde is needing a complete refit. Should be brought back to the original look on the outside, but fitted out for sail training with accommodation for 36 trainees and then for 14 crew. So that's the engine room you can see there. This is one of the watertight bulkheads which we're working on at the moment. So we have a team of about 60 volunteers. Plus
60?
60,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, yeah.
Yeah, and we've put in, this week we just logged 40,000 hours of volunteer work.
Okay.
So
Can anybody help?
significant. Yeah, we've got our youngest volunteer is 16, I think, and our oldest would be in their 80s. We get school groups who come to volunteer. We get companies doing a community responsibility day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we've had several hundred people from National Australia Bank and from Ford Motors and various other places. We've done young offenders programs with YMCA. So people who are needing to be put in the right direction in terms of work practice. They work alongside our volunteers who are usually fairly skilled people who have a lifetime of experience of various careers.
Yeah.
And they just get to know them, talk to them and learn some skills.
Yeah, okay. So it's also an educational project actually?
Yeah, it's educational and it's also part of the training for some people. It's a way into the maritime industry. And you can see the beautiful timber work here in the saloon. A lot of hew and pine put into the ship from a single 1,500-year-old tree from Tasmania.
Yeah.
So this timber has been preserved, and this is the area in which the trainees will eat their meals. There are benches and tables in there. Then looking down the side deck, you can see quite a wide deck, and we've got a cover over the ship which keeps the sun off and the rain off and helps to preserve the structure while we're working on the underside of it.
Yeah. And what are you normally doing on the ship?
I'm the
What is your specialist?
yeah, look, I'm the restoration director, so my job is to make sure that all the workers have enough tasks for the day, enough materials, and hopefully that we don't spend more. Well, actually, my friend here, Robert, is the treasurer. He makes sure I don't spend more than we have.
Yeah.
So that's so I tend to get to know all of the jobs and not necessarily do all of them myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but how do you get money in?
From ordinary individuals who walk past or hear about the project and will either join up to our supporters club
Yeah,
for a few dollars a year,
Okay.
or they'll make a tax deductible donation for $500 and buy a plank, and there are
okay.
300 planks needed. We have occasional very generous benefactors. We get a lot of in-kind support from companies.
Yeah,
We get the City of
Like the
Melbourne
woods or-
provides the berth.
Yeah.
The State Government Development Authority, Places Victoria, provide us with a large workshop right next to it, which we have for about another year, I suspect, and then we'll have to be finished.
Yeah.
So At the current rate of
critical.
progress, we raise, if we do every trick we know, we can raise about $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
We need 800,000 to get the ship back in the water
Okay. Yeah.
from a total budget of 3 million. So we need to be working 8 times faster than we are at the moment to meet the deadline. Or
Yeah.
as one of our directors put it to me, if you raise 100,000 a year and you need 1.7 million to get the ship completed, that's going to take you 17 years.
Yeah. Oh,
So
but we want you guys.
I won't be around.
But 2 or 3 years. We want 2 or 3 years.
We want it in 2 years' time, and
Yeah.
then we can have, in next year, actually July, when we would like to have the ship back in the water because of these drying out problems, is 100 years since Alma Doepel first brought a cargo into Melbourne
Yeah.
as a working ship. So she is one of the, if not the only surviving piece of maritime heritage in Docklands, where she is at the moment.
So when is that?
July next year.
Oh yeah, but that's really too early.
Well,
Do
it's
you-
not
we
too
can-
early
we
to get
can-
the ship in the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
I want to make a deal with you.
yeah,
In 4 years,
yes.
it sails again.
I hope so.
So that will be great. That I will be on that ship with my camera,
Yeah.
sailing to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
all the
ship?
way to the Netherlands.
No, I think the ship won't be
No.
going to the Netherlands.
No?
But, no.
No.
You'd need it.
Because of it's about modern survey standards for passenger ships compared with cargo ships. And,
Yeah. So we can't do that.
No, we won't
Okay.
go that far.
Okay. Other deal.
We would very
And-
much like to go to Hobart,
Okay.
and that could be possible.
Okay. Okay. We do or Hobart in 3 years. I would love to be there on the with my camera there. Or in 2 years, Tallships
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victoria
Ask-
event.
Ask the Stad Amsterdam to come back to
Yeah.
Melbourne. She came
Yeah. CK.
several years, 3 or
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, but no,
Wonderful.
we have it now about the Alma Doepel. I would love
Yeah.
to have that time limit. I like time
Yep,
limits.
yep.
2 years. Then I'm on the ship on your ship.
Well, that's a challenge,
It's a
and a
challenge.
similar challenge was put in the construction of Stad Amsterdam, in which it was said by the chairman of actually the mayor of the city of Amsterdam and the chairman of Randstad, the international recruitment personnel company. The Dutch should have a better ship, and it should have a flagship. Why don't we build a clipper?
Yeah.
And so everybody said that's impossible, but they did it, and she is one of the most beautiful ships in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a challenge that was met by somebody who had the ability to make it happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
No, yeah,
there's the challenge.
Yeah, there is a
Yep.
challenge, but that's
Yeah.
also good. You need challenges
There's an
to make
opportunity.
things happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have more time, unfortunately, to talk more about this beautiful topic. But thank you both for coming to the studio. And I hope to see you definitely in a few years.
Thank you very much, Carole.
Okay,
It's been
no
a
worries.
pleasure. Thank you.
No worries, thank you. Dankjewel voor het kijken naar het programma. Volgende week zijn we er weer van 3 tot half 4. Als je wat gemist hebt, kan je ook even terugkijken op www.dutchtvonline.com. En als je hierover mee wilt praten, ga naar mijn Facebookpagina, Dutch TV. Tot dan!